Hello and welcome back to the booth here at Card Kingdom's Legacy Preservation Series 1K. I'm your host, Josh Monks, joined by the fake host last round, Jordan Isaka.
That was me.
Jordan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Ready to see some more Legacy action.
Yeah, me too. I just took my break and I'm back and ready for action. And we have a sick round 5
Of course.
We have James Wade, great player, great guy, playing Esper Deathblade. Love the deck, love watching it play.
Yeah.
This time, not versus a deck with Blood Moon.
Certainly. I believe he's playing against Zach or she.
Yeah, who's playing a deck with Dark Ritual in it. He is playing Ad Nauseam Tendrils.
We've seen a few of those today.
Yeah, there's a lot of people playing
I want to
Storm.
say that when I walked in here today, you were telling me a little bit about how prevalent the Storm deck is going to be.
Absolutely. I've been seeing a ton of people playing Storm. I've been seeing a ton of people playing Jund. And you know what? The deck that honestly I think would do really, really well at this tournament is Oops All Spells.
Yeah, man.
There are so many people doing dumb, degenerate things. There's a couple people playing Miracles, but Oops All Spells crushes these combo decks just because it's faster. It's less consistent, but if it doesn't have to play against Force Will, it gets so many percentage points.
Yeah, if you force check a deck without forcing it, well, you're just dead.
Yeah,
right?
They lose. That's
what
the game
happens.
ends.
Yeah, so pretty excited to see Zach. I mean, obviously, when he opened up his hand, we saw a Lotus Petal. Obviously, very powerful card in his deck. And James Wade's going to look to combat that with Cabal Theory, or it looks like Thoughtseize and some Force Wills if he has them.
He's got a really land-heavy hand, though.
Yeah.
I saw one blue card, and the Thoughtseizes, was it a Brainstorm? It's a Snapcaster.
I like this.
That changes the hand a lot.
Look at the opening from Zach.
Zach's going slow-mo.
Look at the opening from Zach. I mean,
since his Divine
Island
combo off
top,
of basic,
what do you think?
Nice Miracles deck.
Yeah, I think so too, right? I think so too. But James Wade, though, he's going to know what's up.
Yeah, when you Thoughtseize the shields, the curtains go down, you know what's going on across the street.
And I think that Zach, and every player that has done this to somebody knows that it's, all right, like, you know what's going on now.
What do you take here? Do you like taking the Cabal Therapy, or do you like taking the Lotus Petal?
You know, I think that taking the Cabal Therapy is a safe way to preserve the cards in your hand.
I agree.
You know, Cabal Therapy is going to be exactly a Force of Will when he's trying to go off.
Oh, absolutely. Or a Spell Pierce.
I would love to take the fetch land. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. That would be the target there.
Right. But it looks like both players kind of have a slower, grindier hands, and we're going to see a little bit more magic. You know, some of the earlier decks that we were watching were a lot of people had explosive hands, and it looks like we're going to just see a little bit more of a slowdown and some chop action, and maybe hopefully James Wade draws into like a Brainstorm or something like that.
Absolutely. And so this hand, James decided not to preserve his hand. He decided to start out with a Thoughtseize on the Lotus Petal. And Zach is going to hit a Brainstorm off the top, which I don't know if you ever casted Brainstorm after your hand gets disrupted, but it feels real nice.
Yeah, it certainly does. It turns a lot of those bad ones into good ones. And he also has the top as well. He's got a couple. I think he has one other fetch land. He's going to put those 2 lands back on top.
He's going to get 2 lands on top, drop a fetch land here. He's going to be able to crack that fetch, untap, and then upkeep, use that top, or end step, use that top.
That's
be able
right.
to rearrange the top of his hand. And look, he's a card away from winning the game.
Yeah, he really is.
I think maybe he's 2. I think he needs a Dark Ritual and an Infernal Tutor, and he wins the game.
Yeah, he is certainly very close. I mean, like, the top is certainly going to give him access to all those cards.
He's
got 2 shuffle effects, too, right? So,
guys,
pretty excited.
I just want to note that James Johnson is playing Randy Buehler, so we could get yet another notch on his belt.
Oh my goodness gracious.
James and the Giant Slayer. The Giant Slayer killer.
Playing against a Hall of Fame player that we have in our midst at our tournament.
You know, Jordan is undefeated against Hall of Fame players.
James is?
James is undefeated.
I'm Jordan.
James is undefeated.
Yeah, I'm not undefeated. I was going to say
Did I say you were?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, though.
Okay.
I'm certainly not.
Yeah.
I like this line. Cracking the fetch in response, Abrupt Decay targeting Sensei's Divining Top. Ooh. That's a heads-up play if I ever saw one.
And you know what? James knows that Zach's going to get a card out of this, but you know what that card's going to be?
Not anything he wants.
It's a basic land that he just put on top of his library with the Brainstorm.
I think he's going to have to take it anyways, though. I mean, having the chop not there, I mean, it's just going to be... It's going to disrupt Zach's long-term play.
Absolutely.
Right?
That was a great draw for James, also because now his hand curves out. He gets the turn 1 Thoughtseize, the turn 2 Abrupt Decay, the turn 3 Snapcaster Thoughtseize.
Ooh,
and
like that one for sure.
He's definitely being able to utilize his mana here, which is really important to do against Storm. You need to execute your plan fast enough, your disruption enough in the right places, things like that to really land a haymaker.
Pretty interesting here. You see Zach is fetching out all of his basic lands. I'm kind of curious as to why, but maybe he's worried about wasteland.
I think he sees this game going along, and he does not want to get wasted on Ligate. He doesn't really need the mana fixing at this point.
Right.
That Volcanic might get wasted, but getting your your Volcanic wasted is a much less of an impact than getting your blue and black source.
That's 100% correct. And we'll see a top deck from James Wade. I think he's going to go ahead and fire off that Snapcaster Mage in short order.
100%. I don't think it's a question.
Yeah, certainly. I kind of, from Zach, it's kind of one of those questions where should you have fired off the Cabal Therapy maybe last turn, perhaps?
He didn't know there was a Snapcaster Mage coming. I don't know if you necessarily think. So you definitely want to save these Cabal Therapies until the turn you go off, because you take a Force of Will here.
Right.
James has a Brainstorm in his hand. You're like, okay, so basically I did nothing with this card.
Most certainly, right. I guess you could go for a lucky name, try to snag a card that could be relevant further on down the road. That being said, Zach's hand is looking kind of slow, right? The more he gets Thoughtseize, the later he's going to be able to go off.
Absolutely.
It's going to delay his critical turn at some point. But now we see a Thoughtseize landing right now, and there's a lot of juicy taking targets here. I think, would you take Cabal Therapy here?
I would.
The second Force, or
honestly, I would have taken Cabal Therapy on the last one too.
Okay.
And I could see why you necessarily wouldn't, because now you're in the situation where LED and Cabal Therapy is tough. It's a tough decision.
Right.
Just because if Zach draws a Infernal Tutor there, he's got the 2-card combo. Storm is really based on the 2-card combo between Lion's Eye Diamond and Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, and then if you wanted to give it their proper names, it's Black Lotus and Demonic Tutor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I say LED and Infernal Tutor? My bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse the viewers at home.
And fantastic. Right. So he goes ahead and fires off this Cabal Therapy, but he's kind of shooting dark. He doesn't really know what's going on, and there's a big pile of... Is that a land?
It's a lot of lands. I believe it's 4 lands. James has drawn a lot of lands.
Yeah.
He's drawn 1 Abrupticate, and he kept a land-heavy hand. He kept a 5-lander originally.
Right.
With on the back of Thoughtseize Snapcaster.
And I think the Deathblade deck usually plays about 21, 22 lands. So, if he draws into, a Brainstorm, he's going to feel pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of pressure here coming off the top with True Name Nemesis. James actually can tend to commit lands to the table. To be perfectly honest, I don't like I don't like it terribly a lot. I think it's either you get to 5 lands and hardcast Force of Will, right, or you just keep your lands in hand and then you can play Brainstorm and then play Ancestral Recall.
Absolutely.
So do you like cancel?
I think there's a line where you draw it at, and I think that line is, can you hardcast Force of Will? You probably have enough lands in play.
Right.
James has 4 lands in his hand when he's making these land drops.
That's right.
He'll be able to get to 5 lands in play, and bam, have 2 lands left over to put on top of Brainstorm.
That's true.
It seems perfect to me.
Yeah, certainly a reason why to commit lands to the table. That being said, do you want to go over 5? Maybe not so much. Maybe you want to hold some lands back, so when you do top deck Brainstorm, you're in the driver's seat, so you go ahead and flash that
Absolutely.
early to put those back.
I absolutely agree with you. So
yeah,
James fired off another Thoughtseize there, took that Cabal Ritual. He's trying to deny Zach the fast mana, which I think is absolutely correct. Zach just drew an Infernal, Dark Petition. Dark Petition. There we go.
Now, you know what's really
the name
interesting
of that card.
is James's life total he's taken a beating from his Thoughtseizes.
Absolutely.
Right? So, if Zach goes ahead and storms off, Storm count might only need to get to 6.
Yeah,
he might only if he can barely roll over and just play a Tendrils, for bare minimum, he might be able to just steal the game.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's one of those things where he doesn't have to worry about playing a high risk card like Ad Nauseam. Now he can go a little bit lower to the ground, right, and go ahead and try to just find the Tendrils of Agony.
Absolutely. He knows the gates are open too. He knows James's whole hand, as James drew the True Name Nemesis last turn.
That's
so
right.
Zach has a list of all the cards in James's hand, and
I
all
like
of them
this.
are there.
I like this. Is that a Storm counter?
I think
that's in his box, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
He came absolutely prepared. We have a kind of little dinky piece of paper one, but these ones are nice.
These are actual, that's some sweet mana symbols right there.
Pretty.
And the cool thing about it was, I don't know if you saw his deck red sheet, but it said creatures under the creature column. It said LOL. I don't even know what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
I don't even know what these are. Right? He might have some in the sideboard.
Xanted Swarm?
Ooh, like that. Certainly like that. It looks like Zach's going to go ahead and start cruising out.
Yeah, so he's got 3 Storm, 3 black mana floating. He's going to use 3 of that.
Dark Petition.
2 more to cast Dark Petition. Oh, I guess he had 5 mana floating.
Right. So
use all of that. Dark Petition.
You know what?
Passive Flames.
Yeah, you could, or you can just go Infernal Tendrils of Agony, right? For a real quick
little wombo
combo there, right?
I like that a lot, yeah. I feel like the default line is Past in Flames.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was just a ton of glare on that card, and it was actually just upside down.
Oh, yeah, Past the Flames. All right.
Past in Flames. James sees the writing on the wall. He's going to go ahead and scoop him up, says, I don't really need you to walk through this.
It's kind of unfortunate. James was unable to draw a card that would allow him to fix his hand a little bit.
Absolutely.
But, that's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes you draw bad.
James's whole hand, I think when he kept that hand, he said, I draw a Brainstorm, I'm pretty sure I win with this.
Right.
I don't draw a Brainstorm, I might have to top deck pretty well.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where now we have James Wade's going to go ahead and bring in the rest of his sideboard, and now his deck becomes a little bit more streamlined. not going to have cards like Swords of Plowshares. Abrupt Decay is going to be cycled out for cards that are going to actually matter.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at James's board right here, and he's got 2 Rest in Peace. He has 3 Meddling Mage. He's got a Flusterstorm.
I love Meddling Mage.
He's got the 4th Force of Will. He's only playing 3 Forces main deck, 1 on the board. I actually like when fair decks do this, because the reason why you need 4 Forces is for the unfair matchups, the combo decks.
Right.
And they're not necessarily something you're going to see every game, so you're okay making your main deck a little bit worse than them game 1.
We call it shaving a little
Shaving,
bit.
yeah,
You're going to shave it down to 3. Get more cards that can help out other matchups that are a little bit more initially relevant, right?
Yeah, absolutely. James also has a Surgical Extraction. And how do you feel about Notion Thief in this matchup? Have you ever casted Notion Thief against Storm? It's pretty cheesy.
It's pretty cheesy.
But
I mean, one thing that really matters is that Notion Thief has Flash written on the card.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you bring in Sulfur Elemental versus Storm as a Rug Delver. You just try to play it at the end of turn, and then that way you have a beater and you have all your mana.
Yeah. Storm, the Ad Nauseam Storm deck has to go off at sorcery speed. The Tendrils deck has to go off at sorcery speed. And so if your Storm player passes the turn, you're free to do anything you want to during that instant.
That's true, yeah.
Flashing in your threat is usually one of the best strategies you can do.
That being said, it's also got 3 power. It's certainly a relatively quick clock, assuming that you could start swinging with it. So
absolutely,
pretty good.
And then I'm looking at Zach, and he's got some Abrupt Decays. He's got Xanted Swarm. He's got a Chain of Vapor.
Dude, he's got Disfigure too.
Yeah, he's got some removal. He's got a Trop. He has running a Trop on the sideboard.
Okay.
I don't know how I feel about that, but maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe he's just wants to make sure his mana base is really strong in the main deck. I mean, I saw it looked like he was running double Island.
Yeah, you know, I guess we did see who was it? John that drew he mulliganed to 5 and then kept a hand that was Tropical Island as the mana base.
Oh yeah, and that's got to be a little tough.
Absolutely.
For sure.
What else does he have? He can bring in the Empty Warrens. Do you think you bring in the Empty in this matchup? Is this what it's here for?
It might be. It's one of those things. If James Wade heads up enough to bring in cards like Zealous Persecution and Engineer Explosives. To be honest, I think that card is really if you want to try to beat out a card like Thalia.
Okay.
If you want to try to go out and go underneath Thalia and try to storm on turn 1.
Okay.
That being said, I think versus the Deathblade deck, he has a little bit more time and he can play sort of a more longer controlling game with cards like Xanted Swarm. And one of the things I'm seeing that's kind of missing from this deck, I don't see it's like 1 green enchantment from Urza's Saga.
Yeah.
Carpet Flowers.
Yeah.
Right, and that's certainly a card he would want versus some of these deeper blue decks, right?
Yeah, the mid-range blue decks. Trying to go long. I'm trying to play all my Storm cards.
Right, I want to go long, and that's he has a Tropical Island on the sideboard. You would think that might be possible, but maybe not in this case. So. Pretty interesting to see. Yeah, it looks like he's got a lot of cards here, though.
Yeah, there's a ton of people playing Storm, and they all have just slightly different lists.
Right.
Let's see. How many Dark Petitions is Zach playing? He's playing two Dark Petitions, 1 Ad Nauseam.
That's right. So that's as many. Randy was playing 2 Dark Petitions, and the other Storm player that when Randy was playing the mirror match, he was only playing 1. Mm-hmm. Right. So the more Dark Petitions you have in your deck, the more risky playing Ad Nauseam is.
Absolutely.
Because all of a sudden when you start flipping cards, you hit the Dark Petition. That's a 4th of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
You can only do that once or twice.
Greatness at any cost.
Yes.
All right.
Quote the great one.
Quoting the great one, right? I mean, like, you're taking 5. It's a lot of damage, right? And like, I guess at one point, a long time ago, Storm decks used to play Dark Confidant in their sideboard.
Yeah.
Because what's removal going to do versus a combo deck?
Yeah.
Oh, not too much.
Not a whole lot.
Right?
So
But
everyone's going to board it out.
Right. Exactly.
Perfect time to bring in Dark Confidant.
That's the idea, and that's why Xanted Swarm does so well coming out of the sideboard.
Absolutely. People underestimate it.
You know what card I like versus this style of deck?
What?
I like Is It Charm.
Is It Charm? Yeah, you're a huge fan of that card.
I
know
love
some
it.
other people that are too.
Yeah, it's really good. It always deals with some sideboard cards coming in. Oh yeah, I like this keep from James Wade.
So James, he's got a Meddling Mage, he's got a Brainstorm, beautiful Brainstorm. He's got a Force Will, he's got a Spell Pierce.
You know what was
he's got 2 Force
what's
Wills.
interesting? Spell Pierce on that Gitaxian probe to deny information.
I kind of like it. And the thing is Gix probe does cycle.
Yeah,
when you
it
one
draws
for
him a
one,
card.
when you 1 for
Right.
1 cantrips, like it feels bad, but you know that it's still 1 for 1.
Ooh, that being said, James Wade. I mean, if you look at the structure of James Wade's hand, though, he kept a 1-lander.
Yeah, it's a little ambitious. So it looks like James is going to. Gitaxian probe's going to resolve.
What does this even mean?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, so Gitaxian probe's going to go ahead and resolve, and it looks. I mean. Okay, we have a fetch land and probably Cabal Therapy. It's going to be the 1-2 punch. Mm-hmm. And I think that James Wade is going to go ahead and fire off the Brainstorm, assuming that Cabal Therapy gets cast.
Yes. I assume Cabal Therapy is always a spell getting followed up, and James is probably very happy that he gets to Spell Pierce the Therapy rather than the Gitaxian.
Right. Interesting. certainly interesting. And then he's going to have Brainstorm on the following turn. So...
He's got double Force Will, which is normally very disappointing when
Right.
this happens, but here comes a Duress.
Duress, and he's going to have either defend or he's going to have to play Brainstorm here.
Yeah, maybe you do Brainstorm. I kind of like defending, though. I want to wait on my Brainstorm as long as possible.
Okay.
I want to see at least one more card before I cast the Brainstorm, because you
yeah,
have to hit that second land. And if
You
you
really
Brainstorm
do.
locks for 2 turns, you might
Oh,
lose.
no, I think you certainly are versus a full-powered hand like Zach Rashid.
Yeah, Zach hand is not soft. James
certainly
has the
not.
interaction to hold up, but not
And
for long.
he's got Ad Nauseam in hand too, right? That's okay. So he's burning the Spell Pierce here. He has off the top.
Off the
not
top,
ba-
what a
oh,
champion.
Wow, not bad.
So do you cast the Brainstorm here just to get into Zach's head that maybe you did top deck the land?
No, I think I just
You just play
jammed
the land and pass?
No, I just jammed the Meddling Mage in play.
Okay,
and
okay.
name lines. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on that line.
We'll have to see exactly
I
what
think
he names.
I think he's on there.
Can we get a spotter to run down and check what card he names with his Meddling Mage?
Yeah, please.
Meddling
Yeah,
Mage?
Meddling Mage. And I've actually had a conversation with Neil Henley. So another Renton Deathblade player. Talked to him a little bit about Meddling Mage and the cards to name with Meddling Mage. And I told
Meddling
him
Mage is naming Infernal Tutor.
Infernal Tutor, also a great card to name.
Does Zach have 2 Infernal Tutors in his hand?
he did.
I mean, not for long, right? But
Yeah, it looks like he's going to brainstorm away a few of them now, and then off the top, looks like he has a fetch land into the brainstorm to fetch land.
always nice.
The
Always
old,
nice.
always had it.
The old perfect brainstorm, as they call it
Certainly.
in the business.
He's got double, you're right, he does have double Infernal
So I
Tutor.
think he's getting rid of one, but not both. I kind of like that. You might want one later.
Yeah, and especially if he gets stripped out by another Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
Right, so looking pretty good. That Ad Nauseam's looking pretty good.
Absolutely.
A lot of cards, if James Wade actually plays Thoughtseize, Zach's got a lot of the key cards in hand.
Absolutely.
It's going to be pretty hard for him to navigate here, but that being said, Force Will is always good, and Meddling Mage is hitting the right target right now, for sure.
Absolutely. That's certainly one of the cards you name. I do like naming LED, though.
Yeah, I think it cuts him off some mana, and it makes it a little bit harder to go. If he goes through Dark Petition, right? Like, it almost cuts off Infernal Tutor indirectly, and the fact that you can't sack to get it Hellbent.
Yeah, you have to force your opponent to Hellbent their entire hand, which is, non-zero, as they have a lot of cantrips.
And they have a lot of ways to target themselves, like Cabal Therapy and
Yes.
stuff.
The
Certainly
problem
seen that
is
hand
they also
before.
have a lot of lands, and sometimes it can be hard to
Ooh,
dump your hand.
he has a Massacre.
That's a card.
That is a spicy meatball.
He is going to have to hide that. He does not want to play that until he absolutely has to, the turn that he goes off.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
That is, that's going to build Storm.
Oh, yeah,
it
free
just
Storm,
does.
baby.
Yeah, one of the things I think is interesting about cards like sideboard cards like Massacre, if James Wade had the ability to cast his his Meddling Mage with a Caracas, he would feel just slightly better.
Yeah.
1% better, but it matters though, because sometimes these cards come out of the sideboard, and sometimes they matter. They matter a lot.
Absolutely. I was playing Death and Taxes versus the Ad Nauseam matchup a while ago.
Yeah.
Or not Ad Nauseam, sorry. The blue-red Omnitel deck back before Dick Futon got banned.
Yeah.
And at one point, my opponent played a Burning Wish, and I wastelanded my own basic planes to not have any basics in play to stop the Massacre that he was going to get.
How'd you wasteland your own basic ones? You stripped it or something, or
Wait.
how'd you clear your own basic ones? Or were you playing a red-blue, a red-white version?
What was I doing? How did I do that? I can't remember.
But you killed your own land.
Yes, I destroyed my own land.
Maybe it was like a Cataclysm. You sacked all your lands but one.
It was at instant speed in response to the Burning Wish.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I can't remember.
It happened though.
Yes, it happened.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the Ghost. I was playing the Ghost Quarter deck. That's what it was. The Ghost Quarter
Oh,
version
that's
with
super.
Leon
with
Arbiter,
with Arbiter.
and just failed to find. That's what it was. That's what it
yeah,
was.
certainly lines that can happen, things that can happen. Yeah, and it's really powerful. It certainly stops your opponent from doing a whole lot of business. Look at James Wade's hand. Jeez, he's got double Force Will, Snapcaster Mage for Spell Pierce.
That Spell Pierce is going to mean a lot of work here.
He's
especially if Zach tries to
ready.
fire off.
He's certainly ready, and that Meddling Mage is just doing the business and disrupting a lot.
Yeah, it's a clock that's also stopping the Infernal Tutor from getting casted. However, Zach does have that Massacre ready in the wings.
Now we get to play a little game
Yes.
called What's on Top of Your Deck and What's in Your Hand, and I gotta know, and I can combo off. And the thing about it is, if James burns his Brainstorm here, right, to put back Force of Wills, he cuts himself off of being able to cast his Snapcaster match.
Yeah.
Right? So,
But what if he brainstorms into another brainstorm? Because then he can hide the 2 Force of Wills, have a brainstorm sitting in his hand, ready to fire this off in case Zach tries to go off, and have access at instant speed to those Force of Wills again.
It's a pretty big what if, man.
I agree.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of like. This is gonna sound weird. I like playing. I have no idea. You know what? I take it back. I like playing Brainstorm. I don't really know. I was briefly considering Snapcaster Spell Piercing to try to make him tap mana.
Okay.
Then I realized that you just don't get to do anything else after that. Besides,
He just pays the mana. He's like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Oh man, James drew.
Is that Sylvan Library land?
Yeah, those are not the ones you want.
So I think if you're Zach, you have to name either Brainstorm or Force of Will.
You just snap Forcible, I think.
Yeah, I think you still name Force.
I would actually be doing this right now. I would be shuffling my hand
Yeah,
vigorously.
absolutely.
I would just try to take as much information away from my opponent as I can.
People never hide stuff like that. I always think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, vigorously shuffle that. Come on, James. Give us a one over.
I think he rotated it once,
Yeah.
but that was it. This is pretty tough for him.
He's gonna get hit here.
Absolutely.
This thing's gonna land and it's gonna be enforceable. I think he. Yeah,
there
he
it
left
is.
the Forcible on top.
And a Force Will in his hand. Okay, I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then he's got a Snapcaster Mage and a Sylvan Library in his hand, correct?
Yeah, I think he's just gonna get toasted right here, though.
I think Zach's going to try and go off.
Yeah, Zach is gonna go ahead and zero. Yeah.
Oh,
He passed.
Zach's gonna pass
Maybe
the
he can't go.
well, he's got the Massacre.
Yeah. He's kind of light on mana, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, he did not pass the turn.
Okay.
He's going to cast.
Oh, he's gonna dig for
Brainstorm.
mana.
Hits a Lotus Petal
And a Dark Red. Okay.
That's 3 mana. One mana for 3 mana.
Yeah, 1 mana. Not bad, man. If I ever saw it.
Yeah, Brainstorm's apparently just Dark Ritual all the time.
He's putting a Dark Red back, though.
Interesting. I feel like you just go off here.
Yeah, I think you just go for it, man. I mean, like you can already play Massacre for free Storm, and he's played 2 Storm cards or 2 cards already this turn.
That Meddling Mage is still on Infernal Tutor, but Zach has that
Massacre to take care of it for 0. Yeah. I mean, you already know the coast is clear. You know that there's going to be Force Will on top of the deck.
You know that you're going to have to fight through a Force Will if you don't combo off this turn, so
Right.
it's worth it to just go for it.
Yeah, I think so. But and the other thing is Zach is up a game. I mean, like I'm not saying that it matters a whole lot. But
I think being up a game, that makes me want to go for this.
Yeah, that makes me a little bit more risky in this game because then I know that I'll be on the play on the next game, right? I'll have a lot more control. I'll be able to reboard based off of what the cards I saw my opponent bring
Absolutely.
in. Right? I think you should go for it.
I totally agree with you. I think you go
Yeah.
for it here too. You know the window's open.
Right.
However, if James had revealed a Brainstorm in that hand, Zach no longer is safe.
Right, that is true. Because then he can go ahead and crack the Brainstorm, find a Force of Will blue card, and then yep, he's bringing it out.
Yeah,
and
it's coming.
James is going to go ahead and sit back in his chair and take a gander.
Man, those look so cool.
Those are some sweet counters, man. All right,
Massacre for free. You got a Plains, right?
Yeah, you got one of those over there.
All right.
Alrighty. All right.
happens.
I love playing around that card. I think it's fun.
It's fun, yeah.
It's a really interesting way to play. Alrighty. 5, 6,
Dark Ritual. Storm is 6.
3 black.
And these dice are kind of hard to read.
Yeah, that's all right. You know what? And I guess so. And then James Wade is also at 19. I wonder if he can just go ahead and natural tendrils his opponent. Yeah, there we go. Storm is going to be it. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think Zach can just naturally tendrils here. He can go Dark Writ, Lotus Petal, Infernal Tutor, tendrils, you're dead.
Yeah.
Just like, nice and clean. Don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, the natural Hellbent.
Yeah, the natural Hellbent. There we go.
Lotus
Yeah.
Petal,
7.
So is the last card Infernal Tutor or Ad Nauseam?
It's Infernal Tutor.
He gets to cast Infernal Tutor here for 2 mana. Literally Dark Ritual.
Literally, yeah, he's gonna go find. Yep, and he has exactly Lotus Petal. I believe they call this the flawless victory. Flawless victory.
Absolutely. And so
And
Zach,
yeah, there it is, and that's 10.
that's Xaxes. I guess not Xaxes because James is
Right.
at 19.
Why did they shake hands? I always felt like that was kind of awkward. It was like we're in game 2 though, and he won game 1.
Yeah,
oh my
that was
God.
the match.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm so sorry. No, but it's like you win game 1, they win game 2, and then they extend the hand. And you're like, are we gonna play game 3 or something? And you're like, yeah.
Welcome back to the booth, guys. So that was a pretty quick 2-0. We still have about 26 minutes left in the round.
That's right.
I'm 100% sure we're going to be able to find a backup match.
Oh, absolutely.
We totally got that covered, so
Yeah.
stay tuned, guys. Give us a couple minutes to set up a backup match, and we'll be back with more Legacy here at Card Kingdoms Legacy Preservation Series. We'll grab it. I fumbled that end part.
No, it's fine.
Dude, I don't